Have you ever felt like your own mind is turning against you? Like there's a voice inside your head that won't stop pulling you back into old habits, old fears, old patterns you swore you'd outgrown. You wake up every day with good intentions, ready to stay calm, to think clearly, to finally take control. But then something small happens, and suddenly you're spiraling again, angry, anxious, overwhelmed. It feels like you're losing a fight you can't even see. And the worst part? You start believing, maybe this is just who you are. But it's not. What you're feeling isn't weakness, it's wiring. Your brain isn't your enemy, it's a machine built for survival. Every thought, every reaction, every emotional storm, it's all a program. A system designed long before you ever had the chance to choose for yourself. When you lash out, shut down, or overthink, it's not because you're broken, it's because your mind is still running on an outdated code. A code written by fear, by pain, by the past. But here's the truth they never told you. You can rewrite it. Imagine if every emotion, every impulse, every storm inside you could become a signal, not a prison. Imagine having the power to stay calm when everything around you is falling apart, to think clearly when your heart is racing, to respond with strength when your mind wants to react with chaos. That's not fantasy, it's biology. Your brain has the power to change. It's called neuroplasticity, and it means your mind can literally rewire itself. Every time you challenge an old thought, every time you resist a familiar emotional pull, every time you choose presence over panic, you are changing the structure of your brain. You are reshaping the way you think, the way you feel, the way you live. But first, you have to see it. You have to catch that invisible moment when a thought becomes emotion and emotion becomes action. That's the space where freedom lives. Most people never find it. They move through life reacting, not realizing that every reaction is a decision, one their brain makes for them before they even notice. But when you start paying attention, when you pause long enough to see the process unfolding, something incredible happens. You wake up. You take the controls back. You stop being a passenger in your own mind. You've been told to stay positive, to calm down, to let it go. But no one ever showed you how. No one ever explained that emotions aren't the enemy. They're messages. They're your brain's way of trying to protect you, of warning you, of keeping you safe. The problem is, it doesn't know the difference between real danger and imagined fear. It reacts the same way to a lion in the wild as it does to a harsh comment or a painful memory. And until you train it to respond differently, it will keep repeating the same cycle. So what if, instead of fighting your emotions, you started listening to them, not obeying them, listening? What if every time anger showed up, you asked, what am I protecting? Every time anxiety whispered, what am I afraid to lose? Every time sadness lingered, what am I still holding on to? That's how you start to rewire your brain, from reaction to reflection, from fear to understanding. It won't happen overnight. Your brain doesn't change with inspiration. It changes with repetition. Every time you choose awareness over autopilot, you're teaching it a new way to be. You're carving new pathways, building new habits of thought. Slowly, the old circuits weaken, the noise gets quieter, the reactions lose their grip. You begin to feel something you might not have felt in a long time, control. Not the kind of control that suppresses or hides emotion, but the kind that transcends it. You'll start noticing moments that used to break you, now barely shake you. The chaos won't vanish, but you'll no longer drown in it. Because you've built something stronger, a mind that obeys you, not the other way around. That's the promise waiting for you if you stay. A mind that serves you, not sabotages you. A life no longer dictated by emotion, but guided by awareness. The power to remain calm when everything inside you screams otherwise. The freedom to feel deeply, but act deliberately. You don't have to fight your mind. You just have to understand it. And once you do, you'll realize control was never out of reach. It was always within you, waiting for you to wake it up. The moment you realize your mind can be rewired, everything changes. Because now, every thought becomes a choice. Every emotion becomes a signal. Every setback becomes an opportunity to strengthen the wiring of who you are becoming. You stop running from the storm and start walking through it. Calm, aware, unshaken. you begin to understand that real control isn't about silencing your thoughts. It's about mastering your response to them. And that mastery starts with one decision: to stop reacting and start creating. The truth is, your mind has been trained by repetition, habits of fear, patterns of doubt, cycles of self-sabotage. They've been reinforced every time you believe the voice that said, you can't. But the same way those patterns were built, they can be broken. Rewiring isn't magic, it's mechanics. Every time you face discomfort and stay calm, you teach your brain that fear is not danger. Every time you pause instead of react, you show your mind that it's safe to wait. Every time you choose focus over chaos, you strengthen the circuits of control. Slowly, your brain stops working against you and starts working for you. But you have to keep showing up. You have to train your mind like a muscle, daily, deliberately, relentlessly, because the brain is efficient. It always takes the path it knows best. And if that path is built on pain, it will keep leading you back there until you build a new one. So every time you catch yourself slipping, remember, that's not failure. That's the moment of transformation. That's the exact second where the old wiring starts to break. The struggle you feel isn't resistance, it's growth. Your emotions will fight back. They'll try to pull you into familiar chaos. They'll whisper that it's easier to go back to old ways. But you'll remember something different now. Emotion is energy, and energy can be redirected. Channel it. Turn fear into focus. Turn anger into drive. Turn pain into purpose. The more you do this, the more power you reclaim. You stop being a slave to your feelings and start becoming their commander. That's when life begins to shift. Most people wait for confidence before they act, but that's not how it works. Action creates confidence. Control builds belief. Every small moment where you choose awareness over impulse tells your brain, I am in charge. And your brain listens. It learns. It adapts. It starts building pathways of strength where weakness used to live. You start noticing that you don't flinch as quickly, you don't overthink as long, you don't spiral as deep. You're changing quietly, powerfully, permanently. But there's a danger in comfort, because the moment you feel better, your brain wants to stop. It wants to conserve energy. It whispers, you've done enough. That's the trap. That's how most people stay stuck halfway between who they were and who they could be. Don't stop there. Keep pushing. The discomfort you feel is proof that your brain is still evolving. Every time you break through it, you're teaching yourself that growth isn't something you survive. It's something you command. The world around you won't change until the world within you does. Your relationships, your success, your peace, they're all reflections of your internal wiring. If your mind is chaotic, your world will be too. But if your mind is disciplined, the chaos fades. The noise quiets, the path clears. And for the first time, you feel what it's like to be in control. Not of everything around you, but of yourself. That's the real freedom. That's the kind of strength no one can take from you. You are not your past. You are not your impulses. You are not the voice that says you can't. You are the awareness behind all of it, the observer, the one who chooses, the one who rewires. Every time you choose differently, you rewrite the story of who you are. And the more you repeat that story, the stronger it becomes. You stop trying to escape your mind, and instead, you become its master. That's when life stops feeling like a fight and starts feeling like creation. You have one life, one mind, one chance to shape both. Don't waste it on autopilot. Don't hand your power to emotion. Take it back, train it, shape it, command it. Because once you learn to control your mind, everything else falls into place. The chaos, the fear, the doubt, they don't disappear. They bow to you. And that's how you rewire your brain. That's how you become unstoppable. You've already felt it, haven't you? That small shift inside you, that quiet moment where something in you refused to go back. That's not coincidence. That's proof. Proof that the power was always there, waiting for you to claim it. Every time you break an old pattern, even for a second, you create a crack in the cage your mind built around you. And through that crack, light starts to pour in. You start to see that control isn't about domination. It's about direction. You don't need to suppress your emotions. You need to lead them. You don't need to fight your thoughts. You need to guide them. Because when you stop resisting your mind, you start mastering it. But mastery doesn't come from comfort. It comes from conflict. The moments that test you are the moments that rewire you. Every challenge is a signal asking one question. Will you fall back into reaction? or will you rise into control? That choice decides everything. And every time you choose awareness, you strengthen the version of you that's in charge. You begin to notice the distance between thought and response growing wider. You feel yourself becoming calmer in chaos, sharper in confusion, stronger in pain. That's not luck. That's deliberate evolution. The people who change their lives aren't the ones who never feel fear. They're the ones who stop letting fear decide for them. They stop negotiating with their limitations. They stop waiting for the right mood, the right moment, the right motivation. They act even when their mind resists, because they know that emotion follows action. You move first, the feeling comes later. That's the formula your brain doesn't want you to know. It waits for comfort, but growth lives in discomfort. You either train your brain to obey your vision, or it trains you to repeat your history. Every time you give in to doubt, you strengthen the old code. Every time you face it and move anyway, you write a new one. That's how rewiring works. Not in giant leaps, but in small, consistent defiance. Each time you choose discipline over distraction, patience over panic, focus over fear, you're not just changing your behavior, you're changing your brain's identity. You're proving to yourself that control is not a gift, it's a skill. And skills can be built. But you have to want it more than you want comfort. You have to get hungry for it. You have to feel that deep urge to evolve, to stop living as a prisoner of emotion and start living as the architect of your reality. Because the truth is, your life will only rise to the level of your mental control. The stronger your mind, the freer your world. The weaker your mind, the smaller your possibilities. This isn't philosophy. It's physics. Energy flows where attention goes. If your attention is trapped in fear, your life shrinks. If your attention is directed with clarity, your life expands. You become magnetic, focused, unstoppable. And once you taste that power, real control, you can't go back. You can't go back to reacting, to blaming, to being ruled by your moods. You start to see through the illusion. You realize most people aren't tired because life is hard. They're tired because their minds are undisciplined. They spend energy fighting battles inside their heads that don't even exist outside them. But not you. Not anymore. You're learning to conserve energy, to redirect it, to use it with purpose. That's what separates chaos from control. That's what makes transformation permanent. There will still be moments when you fall, when the old patterns try to reclaim their place. But now you'll see them for what they are. Echoes of a system that no longer defines you. You'll breathe, you'll observe, you'll reset, and every reset is progress. Every comeback rewires deeper than the fall. Soon, what used to control you won't even move you. Because you'll have built something unshakable. A mind that bends reality instead of breaking under it. So stay with it. Don't slow down now. The same brain that once trapped you can become the weapon that frees you. The same emotions that once blinded you can become your fuel. The same thoughts that once weakened you can become your power, but only if you take command. This is the point of no return. The moment you decide that you'll never again be a victim of your own mind, that from this moment forward, your emotions serve your purpose, your thoughts serve your vision, your mind serves you. And when that happens, when you finally take that power back, you don't just change your thoughts, you change your life forever. There's a moment when everything inside you wants to give up. When the voice in your head whispers that it's easier to stay the same, that moment is the threshold, the point that separates who you were from who you're meant to become. Most people stop there. They mistake discomfort for failure. But discomfort isn't the end. It's the beginning. It's your brain breaking free from its old wiring, screaming to pull you back into what's familiar. But if you push through that noise, something extraordinary happens. The resistance fades, the fear loosens, and you begin to feel a new kind of power. The kind that doesn't come from motivation or luck, but from mastery. Your mind has spent years training you to survive, not to grow. It clings to comfort because comfort feels safe. But safety is an illusion. Every time you stay inside your comfort zone, you strengthen the very walls that keep you small. You think you're protecting yourself, but you're only protecting your limits. To rewire your brain, you must be willing to burn those limits down. You must trade safety for strength, certainty for growth, fear for freedom. The pain you feel when you resist change is the pain of rebirth. It's your old self dying so your new one can emerge. That's not something to run from. That's something to lean into, because once you understand that your mind is a tool, not a master, you stop being at its mercy. You begin to use it, shape it, command it. You start catching the thoughts that once controlled you. You start noticing how every emotion, every reaction is just data, feedback, not destiny. You realize that fear doesn't mean stop. It means pay attention. Anger doesn't mean attack. It means there's something deeper beneath the surface. Every emotion becomes a message, not a command. And when you listen to those messages without obeying them, you take back your power. That's emotional intelligence in its purest form, not suppression, but sovereignty. You've been told your emotions define you. They don't. They inform you. The real you, the one behind the thoughts, behind the feelings, is the observer, the awareness that sees everything but isn't ruled by anything. When you start identifying with that awareness, your life changes. You stop drowning in emotion and start directing it. You stop fearing thoughts and start using them as fuel. You stop living in reaction and start living in creation. That's what control feels like. Not rigidity, but clarity. Not detachment, but direction. But clarity requires discipline. You can't rewire a mind you refuse to train. Every day you have to choose it. Every morning, your old patterns will try to drag you back into chaos. You'll hear the same doubts, feel the same triggers, face the same distractions. But this time, you'll be ready. You'll pause, you'll breathe. You'll remember that your brain listens to repetition. Every moment of awareness is a rep. Every act of control is a rep. Every time you choose focus over impulse, you're building mental muscle. And just like the body, the mind only grows through resistance. So when it feels hard, good. That's proof it's working. Most people wait for the perfect moment to change, but that moment never comes. The only time you have is now, not tomorrow, not after things calm down. Because your brain will always find an excuse to delay the work. It will tell you you're not ready, not strong enough, not smart enough. That's the trap. Your brain wants predictability, but greatness lives in unpredictability. Growth happens when you move before you feel ready. When you take the first step without seeing the whole path. When you trust that you'll figure it out as you go. That's how you teach your brain that uncertainty isn't danger, it's opportunity. This isn't about motivation. Motivation fades. This is about identity. You must start acting like the person you want to become before your brain believes you are. Speak like them, move like them, think like them. That's how identity rewiring works. You don't wait for change, you become it. Every choice reinforces the new version of you until it becomes your default setting. Until one day you wake up and realize you've done it. You've crossed the line between who you were and who you've built. So keep going. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard, because every moment of struggle is proof that you're rewiring something deep inside you. You are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are the force behind them, the one who decides, the one who creates, the one who controls. And once you understand that, once you live it, nothing can stop you. Not fear, not doubt, not the past. Because the moment you take command of your mind, you take command of your life. And that's when you become unstoppable. You've come too far to go back now. You've already seen what's possible when you stop letting your emotions run the show. That's the first spark of freedom, the first taste of power. But the truth is, this journey isn't about control. It's about transformation. Because the goal isn't just to manage your mind. The goal is to rebuild it, to create a version of yourself so disciplined, so unshakable, that no circumstance, no emotion, no failure can break you. That's the level of power you're chasing. Not comfort. Not ease. Power. Your brain isn't wired to give you that easily. It's wired to keep you safe, to keep you predictable, to keep you inside the boundaries of the familiar. Every time you try to grow, it will fight you. It will flood you with doubt. It will whisper, this isn't working. It will try to pull you back into the old story. That's not weakness. That's biology. Your brain doesn't change through motivation. It changes through resistance. It learns by struggle. It adapts by repetition. Every time you refuse to give in, you teach it who's in charge. Every time you push past the fear, you reprogram the code. But that means you have to stop negotiating with your limitations. You have to stop entertaining the thoughts that weaken you. The mind is a battlefield, and every moment you spend arguing with your excuses is a moment you lose. The only way to win is to act, not later, now. Because hesitation is the enemy of rewiring. Every second you hesitate, your old self gets stronger. Every time you move, your new self takes over. That's how transformation happens, through motion, through momentum, through fire. And yes, it's going to burn. Growth always does. You'll question yourself. You'll feel alone in it. You'll want to stop, but that's where the real change lives. In the moments when you keep going, even though it hurts. You can't think your way into control. You have to train your way into it. Like a muscle, the mind grows under pressure. It expands through repetition, through discipline, through relentless focus. Every time you face something that scares you and choose action anyway, you build the mental armor that nothing can pierce. That's how warriors are made. Not through comfort, but through controlled chaos. The world will try to distract you. It will offer you comfort disguised as peace. It will feed you instant pleasure to keep you from long-term purpose. But you have to see through that illusion. Comfort is the enemy of clarity. Every time you choose what's easy, you weaken the very wiring you're trying to strengthen. You have to train your brain to crave discomfort, to associate growth with effort, to find peace inside the struggle. Because the moment you fall in love with the process, you become unstoppable. Most people never reach this level. They spend their lives running from pain, never realizing pain was the teacher all along. But you're different. You've seen behind the curtain. You've tasted control. You know what it feels like to act with intention instead of reaction. And now you can't unsee it. You can't go back to living on autopilot, to being ruled by emotion, to mistaking comfort for happiness. You're awake now. You're aware. You know that control isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. Every time you fall, you rise faster. Every time you fail, you learn deeper. Every time you face fear and move anyway, you strengthen the connection between who you are and who you're meant to be. That's the rewiring process unfolding in real time. It's not just science, it's power made visible. You are literally rebuilding the structure of your mind through every act of discipline, every conscious choice, every moment of awareness. You're teaching your brain that you are not your thoughts. You are the one who decides which thoughts become truth. And once you realize that, the game changes. Because you stop chasing control, you become it. You stop reacting to life, you start directing it. You stop living as a victim of emotion. You start living as a creator of purpose. That's the transformation. That's what it means to rewire your brain. Not to silence the storm, but to become the calm within it. To look chaos in the eye and say, I decide. Because that's the ultimate power, not the absence of fear, but mastery over it. So keep pushing, keep training, keep building. Because every time you choose strength over comfort, awareness over impulse, purpose over emotion, you become more of who you were meant to be. This is what freedom feels like. This is what control truly is. Not a moment of peace, but a lifetime of power. And once you taste that, you'll never settle for less again. The moment you stop fighting your emotions and start understanding them, everything changes. You begin to see that control isn't about suppression. It's about direction. You realize that the same energy that once fueled your fear can fuel your focus. The same fire that burned you can be used to light your way forward. Every emotion you feel holds power. It's raw energy waiting for purpose. Most people waste it in reaction. But you're learning to channel it, to use what was once chaos as fuel for creation. That's the difference between the controlled and the consumed, between those who drift and those who dominate. But to truly master your mind, you must stop identifying with its noise. The thoughts that haunt you are not you. The emotions that shake you are not you. You are the awareness behind it all, the silent observer who decides what becomes real. The moment you understand this, you become untouchable, because you no longer need the world to calm down before you do. You no longer depend on perfect conditions to feel peace. You carry that peace within you, unshaken, unmoved, unbreakable. That's real strength. Not the absence of struggle, but the ability to stay steady through it. Still, the mind will test you. It will send you memories to weaken you, fears to paralyze you, and doubts to distract you. It will try to convince you that control is an illusion, that your efforts don't matter. But that's how it protects itself. The old programming will do anything to survive, and the only way to destroy it is to keep choosing the new path until it becomes who you are. Every time you resist the pull of old habits, you're not just changing your thoughts, you're changing your identity. You're stepping into a higher version of yourself, one decision at a time. The truth is, your life is a reflection of your inner wiring. Every pattern you repeat, every emotion you chase, every limit you believe, it's all a mirror of what your brain has been trained to expect. If you want a new life, you need a new mind. You can't keep thinking the same thoughts and expect different results. You can't keep reacting the same way and call it growth. Transformation demands that you outgrow your comfort. It demands you break your mental patterns before they break you. You must teach your brain that uncertainty isn't danger, it's possibility. And that begins with a single rule. Never abandon yourself. No matter how dark it gets, no matter how loud the noise becomes, you stay, you breathe, you observe, you lead your mind instead of following it. Because when you learn to hold your ground in the middle of emotional chaos, you unlock the deepest level of control. That's when you realize power isn't something you find, it's something you remember. It's been inside you all along, buried under years of conditioning and fear, but now it's resurfacing, it's rising, it's demanding to be used. You are not here to be controlled by emotion. You are here to command it, to use it as a tool for creation, not destruction. Every time you feel anger, turn it into discipline. Every time you feel fear, turn it into focus. Every time you feel doubt, turn it into drive. That's the alchemy of control. The ability to take everything that once held you back and transform into fuel that pushes you forward. That's what separates those who live intentionally from those who live in reaction. And when you live with that kind of awareness, you stop chasing happiness. You start creating it. You stop seeking peace. You start becoming it, because now nothing outside of you has power over you. Not the past, not the future, not other people's opinions. The only power that matters is the one you choose to activate right now. This moment is where control begins and chaos ends. This is where you stop surviving your emotions and start mastering them. So breathe, feel everything, but let nothing own you. You have the power to decide what stays and what goes. You have the authority to rewrite every rule your mind ever followed. The life you want, the peace you crave, the strength you admire, it's not out there. It's in the space between thought and choice. And in that space, you are limitless, because once you master your mind, nothing and no one can ever control you again. You've spent years believing your thoughts were facts, that the voice in your head was truth. But that voice isn't truth. It's programming. It's every moment of fear, every word of doubt, every failure you never healed from, replaying like a broken record. And as long as you keep listening to it, you'll keep living inside its limits. The mind is a master of illusion. It convinces you that your patterns are permanent, but nothing about you is fixed. Every neural pathway, every emotional response, every automatic reaction, it can all be rewritten. The brain doesn't cling to the past by choice, it does so by habit, and habits can be broken. That's where your power begins. The second you stop identifying with your pain and start observing it, you weaken its grip. The brain follows attention. What you feed grows. If you feed fear, it expands. If you feed power, it multiplies. The thoughts you repeat become the architecture of your reality. So ask yourself, what have you been rehearsing in your mind every day? What emotions have you been teaching your body to live in? Because your brain doesn't care whether something is real or imagined. It learns from repetition. And if you've been practicing stress, doubt, and hesitation, your brain has memorized them as home. But home can be rebuilt. You rewire your brain by interrupting the old patterns and replacing them with new ones before they harden again. Every time you choose calm instead of chaos, focus instead of fear, you're carving a new path inside your mind. It won't feel easy at first. It's supposed to feel uncomfortable. You're not just changing thoughts. You're dismantling years of conditioning. You're taking control away from your survival brain, the one that always expects danger, and giving it back to your conscious self, the part of you that chooses, directs, and creates. That's why growth feels like war. You're fighting against the most powerful force you've ever known, your own conditioning. But there's something the mind fears more than pain: uncertainty. It would rather stay in misery it understands than face peace it can't predict. That's why people stay stuck. They crave control, yet they cling to the very patterns that destroy it. You can't lead your life while staying loyal to your limits. You have to break the rhythm. You have to teach your brain that fear isn't a signal to stop. It's a signal to focus. That anxiety isn't weakness. It's energy asking for direction. When you reinterpret your emotions, you reclaim your power because your emotions don't define you. They obey you. And that's where the real transformation begins. When you realize that every feeling is neutral until you assign it meaning, you stop being a victim of emotion and start being the architect of it. Sadness can become strength. Anger can become focus. Fear can become fuel. Your mind bends to the meaning you give it. Most people never learn that because they let their emotions drive the car while they sit in the back seat. That you're taking the wheel. You're deciding where this road leads. And once you take control of that direction, the world starts responding differently. Opportunities appear where fear used to hide them. People respect you more because you radiate calm instead of chaos. Life starts matching your internal order. Still, it's a daily choice. Mastery isn't a one-time victory. It's a lifelong discipline. The brain loves to drift back into comfort, to choose the familiar over the powerful. But every time you choose awareness over autopilot, you strengthen the connection to your higher self, the version of you that doesn't chase peace, but creates it. That's how control becomes effortless. Not because the noise disappears, but because it no longer dictates your actions. You hear it, but it doesn't move you. You feel it, but it doesn't own you. And when that happens, life slows down. The storms still come, but you stand in the middle of them, unmoved, unbroken, unstoppable. That's what it means to truly rewire your brain, to stop reacting to life and start directing it. You're no longer a passenger in your own mind. You're the one steering, choosing, creating. Every thought is a choice, every emotion is a message, and every moment is a chance to reclaim your power. The world doesn't need a calmer mind, it needs a stronger one. And that strength is already inside you, waiting to be commanded. Most people live their entire lives never realizing how easily their emotions control them. They wake up already reacting, checking their phone, comparing themselves, drowning in noise. Every thought pulls them in a different direction until they can't tell what's real anymore. But here's the truth. Emotion without awareness is slavery. It dictates your mood, your focus, your choices. You think you're deciding, but it's deciding for you. The mind is powerful, but without control, it becomes a weapon turned inward. And the longer you let it run wild, the deeper it buries you in cycles you don't even see. You have to break that cycle before it becomes your identity. Every time you react without thought, your brain records it. It learns that pattern, strengthens it, and soon you're not even choosing, you're replaying. That's why change feels so hard. You're not fighting your willpower, you're fighting your wiring. But the brain isn't your enemy. It's your greatest tool, if you train it. It doesn't care what you teach it. It only learns what you repeat. Feed it chaos, it becomes chaotic. Feed it calm, it becomes sharp. That's the secret to control. Repetition with intention. You don't rise to the level of your motivation. You fall to the level of your conditioning. So you must condition your mind for mastery. Every moment of discomfort, every impulse you resist, every thought you redirect, it's training. It's proof that you are stronger than your emotions, not ruled by them. Most people think control means not feeling anything, but real control means feeling everything and still choosing what deserves your reaction. That's the difference between existing and leading your life. Emotion is not the enemy. Suppression is, because what you suppress grows stronger in the dark, but what you face with awareness loses its hold. Look your emotions in the eye. Observe them without judgment. Let them speak, but never let them command. You can't control what the world throws at you, but you can control what you do with it. Every setback can either drain you or define you. Every failure can either break you or build you. The difference is where you direct your focus. Focus is the steering wheel of your mind. Wherever it goes, your energy follows. Most people waste it on what they can't control, on fear, regret, or comparison. But when you take that same energy and aim it at growth, everything changes. Focus doesn't just shape your day. It reshapes your destiny because energy flows where attention goes, and attention is the currency of power. Your brain rewires itself through choice. Every time you choose courage over fear, it records that. Every time you choose presence over distraction, it strengthens that path. Slowly, the old circuits fade and the new ones take control. That's how transformation really works, not through sudden bursts of inspiration, but through deliberate repetition of who you want to become. You teach your brain a new normal until it forgets the old one ever existed. That's why discipline feels painful. It's your old self dying. But pain isn't punishment. It's proof that you're evolving. Growth always demands a version of you that no longer exists. And here's the part most people never understand. Your emotions are not barriers to control, they're gateways to it. Every feeling you resist holds a lesson you haven't learned yet. Fear teaches focus, anger teaches boundaries, sadness teaches depth. The goal isn't to silence your emotions, it's to understand their message and move through them consciously. Because the moment you stop running from what you feel, it loses power over you. What once controlled you becomes your compass. That's emotional mastery, the ability to walk through fire and not burn. But none of this happens by accident. You have to want it more than comfort. You have to crave truth more than validation. You have to stop chasing peace in a world built to distract you and start creating it from within. Because the world will always pull at you, tempt you, test you, but it can't touch you unless you let it in. Control doesn't mean isolation. It means liberation. It means knowing that no matter what happens outside, your inner world stays yours. And when you reach that level, life changes. You stop reacting to noise and start creating from silence. You stop waiting for the right moment and start becoming it. Nothing owns you, not your past, not your pain, not your fears. You own them. You turn every emotion into motion, every thought into direction. That's what it means to be free, not emotionless, but emotionally invincible. Because once you master your mind, you stop living by default and start living by design. You are not broken. You've just been wired to survive, not to thrive. Your brain was designed to protect you, not to fulfill you. It memorizes pain to prevent it, but in doing so, it keeps reliving it. It clings to the familiar, even when that familiar is suffering. That's why change feels terrifying. It's not that you can't evolve. It's that your brain mistakes the unknown for danger. But what if the unknown isn't danger? What if it's freedom waiting to be claimed? The moment you stop running from discomfort and start stepping into it, you begin to reprogram the mind. Because discomfort isn't punishment, it's the birthplace of power. Every emotion you avoid becomes a chain. Every thought you refuse to face becomes a wall. You build your own prison by hiding from yourself. But the moment you look directly at your fear, you take away its disguise. You see it for what it truly is, a signal, not a sentence. Fear means growth is near. Resistance means change is happening. Every time you choose courage over comfort, you tell your brain a new story. I am safe here. I am capable here. I can handle this. And the brain listens. It starts to adapt. The neurons that once fired for fear begin to fire for focus. You stop being controlled by emotion and start commanding it. That's when control stops being effort. It becomes identity. But it requires truth. Brutal, honest truth. You can't rewire your mind while lying to yourself about who you are or what you've avoided. You can't transform while protecting your excuses. Every time you say, "This is just who I am," you're reinforcing the very limits that keep you stuck. The brain follows belief. It doesn't question your statements. It builds reality around them. So if you believe you're powerless, it will make you feel powerless. But if you believe you are in control, your brain starts finding proof of that everywhere. Your mind mirrors your identity, and your identity is the story you repeat. Change the story, and the system follows. The secret isn't to fight the old wiring, it's to outgrow it. You don't overcome fear by battling it endlessly, you make it irrelevant by outgrowing the version of yourself that needs it. The moment you start living from vision instead of memory, the old patterns lose their power. You stop waking up to your past and start waking up to your potential. The brain can't tell the difference between imagination and experience. So feed it the images of who you want to become. See it, feel it, live it before it happens. That's how the future takes shape, not by waiting, but by embodying. You're not becoming that person someday. You're training your brain to believe you already are. But belief isn't enough. You have to act like it, because every action reinforces the identity you're building. You don't meditate once and expect peace. You don't focus once and expect mastery. It's repetition that rewires, consistency that reshapes. Every small choice in alignment with who you want to be becomes a vote for that version of you. And every time you choose differently, the old you fades a little more. You may not see it day by day, but transformation is always happening beneath the surface. The same way rivers carve through rock, your choices carve through your mind, one decision at a time, one act of control at a time. And yes, you will fall back sometimes. You'll lose control, get lost in emotion, doubt yourself. That doesn't mean you failed. It means you're human. But each time you rise again, your comeback becomes your code. The brain remembers recovery. It learns resilience. You are literally training it to bounce back faster. That's what separates the weak from the powerful. Not that they never fall, but that they never stay down. Strength isn't built in moments of calm. It's built in chaos. Every challenge, every storm, every breakdown. It's a classroom for control. And those who learn from it rise from it. So remember this, your mind was never meant to be your master. It was meant to be your servant. You are not your thoughts. You are the force behind them. You decide what stays, what goes, and what grows. You are not here to survive the storm. You are here to command it. And once you understand that, once you feel it in your bones, there's nothing left to fear. Because you finally see what you've always been capable of. You've always had the power. You just had to remember how to use it. Control doesn't begin when everything around you is calm. It begins when everything is falling apart and you still choose your response. It begins when your emotions scream for attention, but you choose silence. When fear rises, but you stay still. That's the moment the mind bends. That's when it learns who's in charge. You can't master your brain by avoiding chaos. You master it by facing it without flinching. Because control isn't found in peace. It's forged in pressure. You don't build strength by waiting for calm seas. You build it by learning to breathe underwater. The truth is, your mind doesn't want to be controlled. It wants to be comfortable. It will whisper lies that sound like logic. It will tell you to stop, to rest, to wait until things feel right. But nothing truly great ever feels right at first. Growth never feels natural. It feels like breaking, because that's what it is, breaking away from the version of you that settled, breaking away from the thoughts that made you small. You can't rewire a brain you're too afraid to challenge. Every moment you push through discomfort, you are teaching it to follow your lead. Every second you refuse to give in, you are proving that your emotions no longer own you. But this requires a decision, a line drawn in your own mind, a point of no return, where you decide that excuses no longer define you. You've spent too long being ruled by moods, by distractions, by fear disguised as logic. You've told yourself stories about why you can't change, and your brain believed them. But belief can be rewritten. You can teach your mind that discipline feels better than regret, that focus feels better than comfort, that peace is not found by running. It's found by commanding your state no matter what's happening around you. Because that's real freedom. Not escaping emotion, but mastering it so deeply that nothing external can shake your internal world. You have to stop negotiating with weakness. Stop making room for the voice that tells you to wait. That voice is not protection. It's sabotage. Every time you listen, you reinforce the old programming that's been holding you hostage. The mind loves to keep you small because small feels safe. But you were not built for safety. You were built for expansion. The discomfort you feel isn't a warning. It's a signal. It's your brain rewiring itself. It's the old circuits breaking down so new ones can take control. That trembling, that doubt, that resistance, it's not the end. It's the beginning. The ones who master their minds don't do it because they're fearless. They do it because they act despite fear. They've learned that courage isn't the absence of emotion, it's the command of it. They've learned that when you stop running from pain and start directing it, you unlock a level of power most people never touch. Your emotions can drown you, or they can drive you. The difference lies in who's behind the wheel. And if you're still letting anger, fear, or sadness steer your life, you're not living, you're reacting. You've been taught to believe that emotion makes you human, but awareness of emotion makes you powerful. There's a shift that happens when you stop trying to control outcomes and start controlling energy. You begin to see that your reaction creates your reality. The same situation that destroys one person can strengthen another. It's never about what happens. It's about what you decide it means. Meaning is power. And when you control meaning, you control everything. The mind stops being a battlefield and becomes your weapon. Every doubt becomes data. Every fear becomes feedback. You stop resisting your emotions and start using them as momentum. You turn chaos into clarity. That's how leaders are built, not through comfort, but through control. They've learned to master the inner world before facing the outer one. They've learned that the person who can command their thoughts can command their destiny. And that's the truth most people never realize. You don't need the world to change. You just need your mind to obey. Because when your mind listens to you, everything else follows. The body aligns, the actions align, the results align. Control your mind and the world bends to your direction. So stop waiting for the right time. Stop waiting for the fear to fade. It won't. You just learn to move anyway. That's mastery. That's freedom. That's what it means to rewire your brain. To stop being the passenger and become the driver. Every second you choose focus over fear, discipline over distraction, awareness over reaction. You're rewriting your story. You're proving that the strongest force on earth isn't emotion, circumstance, or luck. It's the mind that refuses to break. Because once you own that, once you truly command it, nothing and no one can ever control you again. You've been taught to control everything outside of you, your schedule, your goals, your image. But the real battle was never out there. It's always been inside. You can plan every step, chase every dream, and still crumble if your mind isn't aligned, because the brain will always find a way to sabotage a life it doesn't believe you deserve. You can't outperform your self-image. You can't rise above the beliefs buried inside you. Until you change how your mind sees you, you'll always return to the level your brain believes is safe. And that's why people relapse into old habits, because their brain hasn't accepted the new reality yet. The world doesn't change first. The wiring does. You've been waiting for the right feeling to act, but feelings are followers, not leaders. You move first and the mind catches up. Action creates emotion, not the other way around. Every time you act despite fear, you are teaching your brain that courage is the new comfort zone. Every time you keep your word to yourself, you are proving that your mind can trust you. That's how confidence is built. Not from motivation, but from integrity. Confidence is the memory of action. Every decision you make trains your brain to believe that you're in control, even when everything else says you're not. And that belief changes everything. Because once your brain believes you can, it will find reasons why you must. It will start filtering the world differently. What looked impossible will start to seem inevitable. That's not luck, it's alignment. You've shown your mind a new way of seeing, and now it's protecting that vision. The brain's job is to keep you alive, but once you redefine what alive means, it adapts. You stop merely surviving and start creating. You stop seeking comfort and start chasing clarity, because clarity feels better than comfort. It feels like truth. It feels like power. But here's the part most people run from. You can't rewire your brain without discomfort. Growth is supposed to hurt. It's your brain's way of shedding the old code. The pain you feel is not a sign that something's wrong. It's a sign that you're rewriting what's real. When everything inside you screams to stop, that's when the shift is happening. That's when you're breaking through the limits that kept you stuck. Every repetition of courage, every decision made in fear, every moment you refuse to retreat, it's all a signal. It tells your mind, we don't live there anymore. That's how new patterns are born. Not in silence, not in ease, but in resistance. You have to stop waiting for permission to think differently. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to fix your thoughts for you. You are the architect. You are the engineer. The same brain that created the fear can destroy it. The same mind that believed the lie can rewrite it. And when you understand that, nothing can stop you. Because every emotion, every doubt, Every limitation becomes raw material. You stop seeing pain as punishment and start seeing it as programming. You realize that you were never broken, you were just coded. And what's coded can be recoded, but there's a price for control. You can't keep your comfort and your power at the same time. One will always destroy the other. If you keep choosing easy, your mind will stay weak. If you choose discipline, your mind becomes a weapon. Because discipline isn't punishment, it's liberation. It's how you tell your brain, I decide how this goes. And when your mind learns that, the world bends differently around you. You stop being reactive and start being deliberate. You start waking up with purpose instead of panic. You stop waiting for the storm to pass because you've become the storm. This is what mastery feels like. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's quiet power. The kind that doesn't need validation because it's anchored in truth. You don't chase peace anymore because you carry it. You don't chase strength because you are it, and the world can sense it. That's when life starts mirroring your control, because energy responds to authority. And the moment you master your inner world, the outer one has no choice but to follow. So now the question is simple. How long will you keep living as the prisoner of your own thoughts when you were born to command them? The mind will obey whoever leads it. If you don't, fear will. If you don't, doubt will. But once you take that throne back, once you decide that your emotions serve you, not the other way around, you become unstoppable. The war within ends, and in its place something stronger is born. Not a new person, but the real one. The one who's been there all along, waiting for you to take control. Every second you hesitate, life moves forward without you. Every time you doubt yourself, someone else who believed in their vision takes the spot that could have been yours. The truth is brutal but freeing. You are not behind because the world is unfair. You're behind because you stopped trusting yourself. You forgot what it felt like to move with conviction, to wake up knowing that your choices carry weight. You let fear whisper louder than purpose, and in doing so, you handed over your power. But the moment you decide to take it back, everything changes. Because the universe doesn't respond to hesitation, it responds to certainty. There comes a point when you realize that waiting is just another form of resistance. You tell yourself you're being patient, but deep down, you know it's fear disguised as preparation. You don't need more time, you need more courage. You don't need another plan, you need to trust the one you already have. Most people spend their entire lives trying to feel ready, but readiness is a myth. You become ready by doing, not by waiting. Every step you take builds a version of you that didn't exist before. You don't need permission to start. You need permission to stop hiding. When you look back on your life, it won't be the moments of comfort that define you. It will be the moments when you were terrified but moved anyway. The moments when everything in you screamed to give up, yet you didn't. That's where identity is forged, in resistance, not ease. And once you've felt the power of persistence, you'll never settle for mediocrity again. You'll crave that feeling of pushing beyond your limits because you will realize that's where your potential has been waiting all along. Fear doesn't vanish when you grow. It evolves. It follows you at every level, trying to convince you that you've gone far enough, that it's safer to stop now. But safety is a trap dressed as peace. It keeps you comfortable, but never fulfilled. You are not designed to live in neutral. You are meant to move, to fight, to expand. The more you chase comfort, the more life will feel hollow. But the moment you choose growth, the world starts to open in ways you never imagined. Doors appear where you once saw walls, because your mindset shifts from limitation to possibility. You owe it to yourself to become the person your potential keeps reminding you about. You owe it to the younger version of you who believed anything was possible. You owe it to the future version of you who's waiting on the other side of fear, wondering if you'll be brave enough to reach them. Stop playing small to make others comfortable. Stop shrinking your dreams because someone else settled for less. Your vision is not too big, they just stopped believing too soon. The people who change the world aren't the ones who fit in. They're the ones who refuse to. Every time you take a risk, your mind expands. Every time you face rejection, your spirit strengthens. Failure isn't a sign you're not good enough, it's proof you're trying. It's the only evidence that you're alive, learning, growing. The ones who fail most often are the ones who win in the end, because they understand that every fall is a step closer to mastery. You can't lose if you keep getting up. You only lose when you stop. This is your moment to choose. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Because now is all you ever have. The perfect time doesn't exist. The perfect mindset is created through action. You are not chasing success. You are becoming it. You are not waiting for opportunity. You are building it. The world rewards the ones who act with conviction, who believe in their own fire when no one else does. So let this be the moment you stop looking for signs and become one. Let your story be the reminder that transformation doesn't happen by chance. It happens by choice. The choice to rise when it would be easier to stay down. The choice to trust yourself when doubt feels louder. The choice to keep going even when no one's watching. Because greatness doesn't announce itself. It's built in silence, then revealed through impact. You are not here to survive this life. You are here to lead it. And the second you start living like that truth is non-negotiable, the world will have no choice but to move with you. You can feel it, the quiet pull inside you, the voice that refuses to be silenced. It's the same voice that's been whispering for years, urging you to move, to act, to rise. But you've ignored it, haven't you? You've convinced yourself the timing isn't right, that you need more clarity, more confidence, more certainty. Yet deep down, you know that waiting has only made you weaker.